Right, hello, this is Product Shard on, well, not playing Torchlight 2 today, but just giving a bit of information about a recent patch that came out. They've fixed a hell of a lot of things, and I'm just going to go through the main ones that I've picked out that kind of make the biggest difference, at least for me. And the first one is the Prismatic Bolt, which was probably the most powerful spell that the Ember Mage had, that the Ember Mage could use. And it used to, you could spam it and it would just fill up the charge bar at the bottom, which would give you unlimited mana and kind of let your mana recharge until it then finished, and you'd use your mana, then the unlimited mana, your mana, and you'd just keep going like that, and it would never end. But the Prismatic Bolt now gains half the charge it used to, so they've definitely looked at that problem and they've realised that it was really overpowered, so they fixed that. And that's probably the main one, so I just wanted to go through that first. But then we get on to the functional things that they've fixed. Now, the shared stash now creates a backup of itself, which is useful because you used to just, it would bug out and you could lose all of it. You can no longer steal items from your back buy tab by closing the window with spacebar. So you used to be able to sell stuff to people and then kind of click on what you want, and it would only take the money away from your set of money when you put it in your backpack. But you used to just be able to hit spacebar and it wouldn't charge you anything, but it would put it back. So you can kind of just get unlimited money like that, but they found that and fixed that. You can't drag merchant items into the back buy tab, so you could kind of sell its own items. The Gambler now doesn't show can't equip, because the Gambler sells items that you don't actually know what they do, but it used to tell you at least if you wouldn't actually be able to use it, but now that's gone. The pet equipment can't get sockets from enchantments, because one of the enchanters would be able to put sockets into your weapons and, well, any equipment. So now you can't do that for pet stuff, because I guess that, I don't really know why that would be a problem, but you can kind of stack damage on it or something. Creating a player in a difficulty other than normal, joining a game via multiplayer and then exiting won't revert your stored difficulty to normal. So if you had an elite player and you joined a normal server, then when you backed out your player would then become normal, which would be a bit annoying if you were like level 50 on elite and then you reverted to normal. A confirmation box has now been added for quitting without saving. So you used to just hit quit and you'd never really know if it's saved or not. You kind of just had to guess, but now it lets you know if you've saved or not. Now the gameplay updates. The armored grade properties now apply properly, so they used to not work properly. Wandering enchanters now have a slightly better range of enchantment strengths, and this one was pretty interesting. They now have approximately 20% chance to get a powerful enchantment, which are about 50% better than normal. This is represented by a sound and text message in-game. So you can now get kind of a more powerful enchantment from normal enchanters, but it only has a 20% chance. So you can kind of just enchant it, disenchant it, keep going until you get better enchantments if you've got the money. They now have censored some of the blood stuff on it, which seems a bit pointless, but there you go. They've fixed some spelling errors, which is all good. Pets can now be sent to town from the last two boss rooms. So between the final two bosses, because there are two, I'm guessing you weren't able to send your pet back, but on the higher difficulties you might want to send it back for more potions and different spells and stuff. But potions is probably the main thing. XP and fame bonuses on gear are now capped at plus or minus 100%, because I've never actually seen an XP kind of bonus thing above about 2% before, but there you go. Someone obviously found a way to get it above 100. The game can now be saved any time from the options menu. That was in the game before the major patch, but I guess it was just a smaller one that then allowed you to do that. But you didn't used to be able to like hit save, you just kind of have to guess. But now you can hit it, and it also leaves an on-screen notification saying when it's saved. Console created items now have an effect that displays that they were cheat created, so anyone that was trying to make videos or anything saying, look at my amazing gear, yeah, I found it in this place, if it was created via the console, it's now, well, now you can see that. This one's pretty good, that damage reduction effects on the player are capped to 75%, because if they kept stacking you could go down to 0% damage, which would be a bit annoying. The skill cycle key can now be bound to any button, or to mouse buttons, so you can stick it to the scroll wheel, however. Whereas that kind of just switches between two skills on your right click, so you can just do that. It was a bit annoying having to hit tab. And transmuted items are no longer destroyed if the inventory is full, because if you had no place to put them, when you tried to get it back it would just destroy it rather than leaving it on the ground, but now it will be. Now onto the skills, other than the prismatic bolt stuff. The Berserker is now targetable when performing Savage Rush, so you used to be able to kind of just run around as this big wolf thing, and none of the enemies would target you, so they now do. The Bramble Walls and Ice Prison, which when you use them kind of go, well, Bramble Walls makes a ring around you, well, not quite a ring, but kind of leaves a wall in front of you, and Ice Prison traps an enemy in some blocks of ice. Now die properly off screen, they'd kind of just stay there if you weren't on screen, but now if you go without out of a zone, like near them, or if you leave, or if they go off screen, they now just die straight away. Battle standard properties are properly exclusive, so they don't stack. You used to be able to just kind of spam it and they'd stack and stack and stack, but you now can't. A spell or skill called Vortex Hex, which I think I read, yeah, it kind of just sits above you or in a certain place and fires stuff at people to slow them down, but it used to be like only once a second or something, so it now doesn't target smashables, so that would be pretty annoying if you've got a boss coming towards you and instead of targeting that it targets an urn or what they called boxes or bones or something. 2 ranks of Seismic Slam, which used to do electric damage for some particular reason, are now gone. And the Goliath Throw, which was kind of for the Outlander in the early levels, was kind of your main attack. They've now reduced the damage of it by 25%, and the amount of bounces per tier has been reduced as well, which seems pretty mad to me, because it was like really, really useful. And it didn't seem overpowered, except when, you know, there were like 8 things in front of you. You throw it once and it kills them all. But there you go. They've reduced that. And the Outlander's long-range mastery now affects wands. So if you want to run around as an Outlander with a wand, you can now fire it really far. But there you go. Spider Mine summons are... the duration is fixed, because it used to bug out sometimes and they just stay with you forever, whereas now, well, they're meant to like die after a certain amount of time. The Shadowling procs from Wand Chaos and Weapon affixes properly last 20 seconds instead of 3, so if you got it from this Wand Chaos skill, or Weapon affixes, I don't know if that's a skill or something, or it means something else, but they used to last 3 seconds and they were meant to last 20. Immobilization Copter on the Engineer, the damage effect doesn't stomp out or stomp over other damage effects, so it doesn't kind of get rid of them, they all just stack and you can start dealing lots of damage. And the Blast Cannon's armor reduction no longer stacks, so you can't just reduce someone's armor down to 0, it's a set amount. Then for crashes they've fixed hardware and a crash to do with charming a monster, so they've been looking at crashes and how to fix them, and they've done particle and rendering optimizations. They've fixed some areas where the player would get stuck, which is always good, and they've tweaked some graphics, so that's basically it. There are a few more things that I didn't think were particularly kind of big, but I'll leave a link in the description to the page where it shows you like all of them if you want to have another look, but that's most of them. So they're obviously keeping up to date with the game, which is always good to see. They haven't just neglected it now that it's come out, but hopefully they'll... Well, it was good to see that they've seen the prismatic bolt thing being overpowered, and they've reduced that, so that's all good, and hopefully they'll bring out some DLC or something in the next update, because most people have completed it now, at least the main story, and we want to see more. So cheers for listening, I guess, and if you've got any questions or anything, leave them in the comments, but cheers for listening.